Hello and welcome and happy Thursday. This is Going Well, I think, with David Cooper. I am David Cooper. This is the only show where no one's listening, no one cares, where every episode's the last episode. Well, at the end of last month, 2 weeks ago, I had our regular guest, Tony 5, on the show, and my producer, Dani, to announce a new segment. Well, that segment was supposed to be called What's Weird About You, and it was supposed to have audience, listener, stranger participation, and our producer, Dani, was supposed to book it. Knowing that might not happen, we proposed an alternative for her. If she couldn't book it, she had to come on the show and be harassed by us. Well, that's what you're about to hear. A failure of What's Weird About You with me, Tony 5, and Dani. How you doing? So you know why we're here, right?
I will not respond unless you pay my fucking theme song.
And now, live from London, England, it's foreign correspondent Tony 5.
Thank you, David.
So you know why we're here. We were supposed to do a weekly segment. It's been 2 weeks ago since we talked about this, maybe 3.
Go on.
It was supposed to be called What's Weird About You, and our producer Dani was supposed to get a fan or a stranger, because I know getting a fan is difficult because we have exactly one fan. Thank you for listening, fan. But anyone with a weird job, a weird thing, anything strange. They were supposed to come on the show. I was going to guess what that weird thing was. We were going to talk about it. The segment was going to be called What's Weird About You? But there was a consolation prize if we couldn't find anyone. We were going to call our producer Dani and harass her because she's the one who's supposed to book this.
David, you use producer in the loosest sense of the word. She's a fucking useless fucker. David, it's been absolutely pointless. This was my great brainstorming idea. We thought of it there in America. We believed in it. This was going to propel us to instant fame and fortune. And Dani has completely let us down. I don't know what the fuck she does, but let her pull her finger out, get her on her, David, and let us chastise and belittle her. Even her ringtone's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness. Call yourself a fucking producer?
You guys need to learn how to tell time, because this is the second recording in the past, week or so, where you've messed up the time.
Okay, British time to American time, especially when Tony mixes military time and non-military time, it's 2,500 hours, it's 7,200 hours. I got to convert it from GMT to ET. It's hard, okay? Time zones are hard, but you know what's not hard? Finding weirdos.
Correct, David. What's not hard is finding people who have got nothing better to do with their life, who already listen to this god-awful car crash, and booking them. Unless you're not talking to them or sending out smoke signals or pigeons, Dani, you needed to have had at least 4 or 5 weirdos for us already.
I have no doubt that the people that listen to the podcast are weird. I don't know if I have a lot of good news for you guys, though. There was one listener, Edna, that I was in talks with.
Oh, God. Can we talk about her without the disclaimer, David?
I think, honestly, I just want Dani to describe Edna to anybody who didn't listen to me on commercial radio with Bell. Edna was one of our semi-regular callers.
I thought you were going to say semi-sane, but brilliant.
No, not even close. Can you describe Edna to us in a few sentences, Dani?
And what happened as well, Dani?
I don't even know where to start. She is delightfully unique and would always leave us dumbfounded by the things that she would say on air.
Should leave us dumber. Jesus.
She would make us laugh and also
Cry.
be deeply concerned about her. Yeah, I don't know. I was hoping that she would come on because I know she's a huge fan of your show, and you know she used to participate often when you were on the live radio. But apparently, her star is too big for us. She's worried that your legions of fans and listeners might steal some of her material. And, yeah, we're having a difficult time getting her to agree to come on because of that.
Yeah, it's wild. First of all, she would call the overnight show I was on. She'd be one part like sexy, cutesy baby voice. She'd be one part saying wild things like she was going to murder us. And maybe one part, I don't know, she would talk about really severe traumas and horrifying things that have happened to her in this weird baby cutesy voice. And she would go like, tee-hee. She was just so strange. She was wonderful. But she basically said she doesn't want to come on the show because she's worried we're going to steal her jokes, and that she wanted to figure out a way to patent her jokes or copyright her jokes before she came on the show, which I find very strange.
Well, we even offered to put a disclaimer at the beginning, middle, and end of the show, just to say that we wouldn't steal her jokes and they could sue us for billions had any one of us used her jokes on the Johnny Carson show or whatever is good out there. And she still, I think, believe now she's in legal consultation before she appears on us. So, yeah, Dani, that was fucking useless, wasn't it? Brilliant. Next.
Yeah, that was that. Okay, so that didn't go well. Any other leads, Dani?
Well, we were also hoping possibly Mike from Windsor, also a very regular caller, listener, but I have not heard back from him. I don't know. I know that we were a bit worried about him for a time. I don't know if either of you have heard from him, but I have not heard back. Okay,
well, I hope he's okay. This was a caller who always wanted to participate, always was trying to crack jokes. He would do impressions of varying quality. Yoda was probably his only one of note.
Didn't he do Trump as well?
And as the night would creak on into the twilight zone, he would get more and more drunk.
He'd get increasingly inebriated, wouldn't he?
Yeah. And one time we were talking about, I don't know how we got on this topic, but he essentially just said he had a crush on his niece.
It's all coming. Do you know what? It's like I've got PTSD, David. It's all coming back to me in waves. Yes, he had made a pass at his niece and then was kind of considering whether it was a good or bad thing. Then we found out he was married as well.
So he may not actually be able to get to access email if he's been incarcerated or something. I don't know.
I do think his niece was of legal age, barely.
Disclaimer. Well done, David.
Yeah, I think she was maybe like early 20s. This guy was in his 50s.
No. She was in her 30s because she was. He said that he'd seen her. But then all that I could remember was that he's like that creepy uncle at the wedding.
Yeah.
That dances way too close to the young nieces. But he was lovely. And then I remember out of nowhere, we had this wonderfully touching episode or wonderfully touching call-in where we spoke to him about his trauma and his problem. And he was so grateful to us. And he was like normal. And then at the end of it, he said bye to us as the Yoda. Hey, I am. And it just completely threw me. It didn't sound anything like Yoda. It basically sounded like an old man with a sore throat who was confused with his words. It didn't sound like Yoda.
It was wild. Yeah, he was very distraught on my last show when I announced it would be my last night on air. Yeah. He called it. He's like, say it ain't so. We were worried about him. We were supposed to be getting mad at you, Dani. Instead, we're just reminiscing about the various callers we've interacted with over the last few years.
Well, the thing about Mike and him getting drunker as the show went on at night, I mean, it wouldn't be that alarming. I think a lot of your listeners were probably drunk, but he worked the night shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used drink to get them through the show. Good Lord.
What about Bezia? She was on the show. She was one of the listeners. She was that woman who has an OnlyFans and has the exceptionally large breasticles. Well, she could come on and do it with me and Tony. I think she really liked Tony, Dani.
I think she did. I can definitely reach out to her. I have not done that yet, but I can do that. That's sure.
That's low-hanging fruit, David. We need to make Dani do some bloody work. Why do you even bother not paying her for it if she doesn't do anything?
I am paying her, but it's so little that it's like offensive.
Oh, don't say that. It's actually much more generous than the big time media conglomerate where I used to work. So
You said it, not me. Dani, you know what I can do? I can go through my email. That week after I lost my job last year, a lot of people sent me emails, so I could just sift through them and see if I can remember if people were callers or not. I'll do the work, Dani.
are you just going to like read this all during the podcast in your head, or are we just going to wait here while you read them?
No, I'll do it. I'll do it like later today. No, I'm not going to bore people with that.
And basically, yeah, anybody that I sent a postcard to, give every one of them a call. David's got all the emails and stuff, so he'll forward everything to you. You contact all of them and say, technically, because I know all of their addresses, they're opening themselves up to like a home invasion. Unless they come back on the show. All right? There you go, Dani.
I don't know if we should threaten people.
We're basically stalking them. Perfect.
Well, it's their fault for listening.
I did, though, manage to get the proctologist that we wanted, the Tushy doc from TikTok. So he's going to come on, but in the new year.
I'm looking forward to it. But that's not for a What's Weird About You segment. That's just, you're saying, here's the good work I've done with other stuff to try to hide the lack of work with this What's Weird About You segment.
Right. The fact that I've failed spectacularly at this segment, that's true.
You have, and you've done a bad job, and you should be ashamed, and you should feel bad about yourself. I'm kidding. We told you we would harass you, so I feel like I need to do it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just want to do a quick taping with Dani, with you, to let people know that we haven't forgotten about this segment. But as they can see, this is the level of work we've done on it, which admittedly, we've done a bad job.
Why don't you give out my email again, my email address, and people can get in touch with me if they want to be part of this amazing feature.
All right. Dani, Dani, that's Delta Alpha November India at Jew.pizza. Dani at Jew.pizza. Dani.
That's correct. Okay.
And she'll be sitting there waiting on her Intel Pentium 4 processor just in case an email comes through.
Probably not. Are you going to watch Home Alone again?
Dani, remember when Tony confessed to us that he didn't actually like Taylor Swift? He just Googled about Taylor Swift in real time.
No, he's the biggest Taylor Swift fan. He nailed that trivia.
He had his computer up. He knows nothing about Taylor Swift. He's tricked us for years.
Correct. And David's never seen Home Alone.
I never watched Home Alone.
What?
You are absolutely unbelievably gullible.
You sent me a video and you showed Miranda and you're like, hey, we're sitting here, we're watching Home Alone. You lie?
Yeah, Miranda loves Christmas and I don't. And so she was watching it alone. I just walked in the other room, took a picture of it and left.
But it's a comedy. It's good. It doesn't really matter that it takes place around Christmas time. I mean, it's good regardless.
Really, Dani? Child abandonment and a serious home invasion plus violence. Really? A Christmas movie?
Yes, very funny stuff.
With vague pedophilic undertones. Miranda wants to watch it this year, so maybe this is the year.
Wow. Okay. It's actually a good movie. It's funny. It's definitely worth watching. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, or go for Die Hard. Really good.
Yes, it's superb. I mean, the killings are very festive, which is always lovely. What I would suggest now, Dani, is if you can't get anybody of note, maybe go down the route of just picking anybody who lives on your street or people that you might walk around and just bump into.
Oh yeah, they're gonna love that. Sure, I will get right on that.
Let's leave it at that. You too, Tony. Thank you as always for coming here.
David, I don't go anywhere else.
And Dani, thank you for doing such a terrible job booking people on this segment.
Ouch. Okay.
I mean, weirdly, if she had a contract, we'd tear it up. But it doesn't make any difference because, yeah.
I was busy sending out resumes. What can I say?
Good luck finding another job.
Good luck with that as well, yeah.
This is a stain on your resume. I hope you don't put it on. Is this on your resume?
It is not on my resume. No.
Just podcast producer for former national radio hosts, I think is the best you could frame that one.
Former washed up radio host.
That sounds a lot better, but yeah. Anyway, are we gonna do another recording before the new year, or is this it?
Yeah, I think we must do like a year end with Santa Claus or Adolf Hitler or however people celebrate.
Yeah, somebody festive, definitely. Yeah, maybe we'll get Santa. I have a good relationship with him, so he might come in. He is English, and weirdly, he sounds a little bit like me, but he will appear next week in festive spirit. All right?
All right. That's what people have to look forward to.
Amazing.
Dani, thank you. Tony, thank you. I'm going to end the taping. I gotta go.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.